My brother got married yesterday. This morning, his new wife sent me a photo. It was my husband in her bed. In their bed. The caption said, "Now we're even." I stared at the screen until my eyes blurred. Until the letters melted into something I couldn't read anymore. Even for what? The wedding had been a spectacle. White roses imported from Italy. A ballroom strung with lights like constellations. A rented string quartet playing so softly it sounded like wealth itself. My brother Mark had always wanted things bigger than life, and yesterday he got them. The bride, Anna, looked like something out of a bridal magazine. Perfectly painted smile, diamond earrings glinting under the chandeliers. I was her maid of honor. I held her veil. I wiped away her fake tears when she pretended to cry at the vows. I smiled for the photographs, clinked champagne glasses and whispered, "Welcome to the family." And now 24 hours later she had sent me this. I felt the air in my lungs thicken. The photo wasn't blurry, wasn't suggestive. It was undeniable. My husband Eric, shirtless, asleep beside her. His arm draped across her waist like he'd done with me 1,000 nights. Sheets tangled, skin against skin. The kind of proof you don't talk your way out of. My hand shook, but I didn't throw the phone. I didn't scream. I just sat there at the kitchen table, staring at the cracked tile under my feet, while the refrigerator hummed in the corner like it was mocking me. The word "not at me," even implied a debt, a balance, a history. Something between her and me that I hadn't uncovered yet. Something that made her willing to blow up her own marriage less than a day after it began. My phone buzzed again. Another message. Same number. Same cold cruelty. "He was easy, just like you said he would be." I read it 3 times before my stomach lurched. Just like I said? I had never. The floor seemed to tilt. Either Anna was lying, or she had something I didn't know existed. And if she had something, texts, calls, proof, then this wasn't just about Eric's betrayal. This was about mine. Or at least, the version of me she was painting. I lifted the phone again, thumb hovering over the call button. My first instinct was to ring Mark, to scream, to send the photo, to burn everything down in one wild move. But something stopped me, because if Anna was playing a game, I needed to know the rules before I made my first move. And God help me, I was about to find out. People always said Anna was perfect for my brother. They meant it as a compliment. I never heard it that way. Mark has always been a man who collected things, cars, watches, deals he didn't quite finish. Anna was his newest prize. She knew it. She leaned into it. She became the glossy ornament that made him look complete. But I knew Anna before the engagement. We met at a networking gala 3 years ago. I was there with Eric, my husband, who at the time was still attentive, still interested, still mine. Anna was there alone. She worked in marketing, sleek dresses, wine red lipstick, the kind of woman who could sell sand in the desert and make you thank her for it. She latched onto me that night. Said she admired me. Said she envied me. First, I thought it was flattery. Later, I understood it was reconnaissance. Because the truth is, Anna always wanted in. Into my circle. Into my family. Into my life. When she started dating Mark, I told myself it was coincidence. When she suddenly knew the same restaurants Eric and I favored, the same vacation spots we dreamed of, I brushed it off. Too paranoid, I thought. Too dramatic. But sometimes you only realize the pattern when it's too late. Mark fell hard. He always falls hard. But Anna didn't fall. She positioned herself. She slid into every corner of his world with precision. Within months, she was sleeping at his apartment full-time. Within a year, she was showing me engagement rings on Pinterest like we were old friends. I wanted to warn him. I wanted to say, she isn't who you think she is. But what proof did I have? That she mirrored me too closely? That she smiled too wide whenever Eric was around? And if I was honest, part of me liked her then. Or wanted to, because she made Mark happy, and Mark was my little brother. Protecting his happiness had been my job since we were kids, when our parents were too busy tearing each other apart to notice us. So I kept quiet. I clapped when he proposed. I stood beside her in champagne-colored satin yesterday, holding her bouquet like I believed the whole performance. Now I see it clearly. The performance wasn't for Mark. It was for me. And that photo wasn't an accident. It was the opening move in a war she had been planning all along. Eric came home late that night. Not suspiciously late. Not the kind of hours that scream affair, but late enough that I had time to imagine a dozen versions of what I would say to him. None of them survived the moment I saw his face. He looked tired. Tired in that ordinary way, like work had drained him. He dropped his keys in the ceramic dish by the door, kissed the air near my cheek and muttered, "Long day." For a split second I almost believed it, but the photo burned behind my eyes. I didn't ease him in. I didn't test the water. I walked to the counter, picked up my phone, opened the message and shoved the screen in front of him. "Explain." His brow furrowed. He blinked down at it once, twice. I watched his pupils tighten, and then he laughed. Actually laughed. "What is this? Photoshop?" He handed the phone back like it was contaminated. Jesus, Anna must be losing her mind already. I didn't blink. "So that's your story?" He leaned against the counter, hands up in mock surrender. "It's not a story. It's bullshit. She's trying to stir things up. You know she's unstable." Unstable. The word clanged like a cheap bell. Anna had sent the photo with my name in the caption. Now we're even. If she was unstable, then she was unstable in a very specific, calculated direction. "Eric." My voice was too calm even for me. "That's our sheets. Our quilt. That's you." He exhaled sharp through his nose. Then he did something that almost broke me more than the photo. He smiled. Not warmly, not nervously. Smiled like he'd found the lever he always pulls when I'm angry. The calm down you're crazy lever. "Look, babe. If you trust me, this doesn't matter. You trust me, right?" The room tilted. Because the truth is, I had trusted him. Through job losses, through late nights, through every whispered doubt that marriage is just endurance in disguise. I had trusted him, and he knew it. He took a step closer, his voice softer. "Don't let her get in your head. That's exactly what she wants." And here was the trap. If I pressed, I was paranoid. If I stayed quiet, I was complicit. So I said nothing. I just stood there, staring at the man I thought I knew, while the photo sat between us like a landmine neither of us dared touch. And in that silence I understood something. The war wasn't just with Anna anymore. It was with him too. I didn't sleep. I lay there in the dark beside Eric, his breathing heavy, steady, like nothing had shifted. My eyes fixed on the ceiling, counting cracks in the plaster until dawn smeared pale light across the room. When the alarm buzzed, he rolled over, kissed my shoulder and whispered, "Don't worry. She's just trying to ruin us." Funny how he could say that word so easily when the image of his arm around her waist was burned into my skull. He left for work with his travel mug and his hollow reassurances. I stayed at the table, staring at the phone like it might sprout more poison. And it did. At 9:03 a.m. Another message lit the screen. From Anna. One picture wasn't enough? Fine. The photo attached was worse. Not just Eric asleep this time. He was awake, smiling, holding a glass of champagne in her kitchen. My brother's kitchen. Shirtless, casual, like he belonged there. I felt my stomach turn cold. Seconds later, another text. "You want proof? Check your email." My hands trembled as I opened my inbox. The subject line was a knife. "For you, sweetheart." Inside were screenshots, text chains between her and Eric, late night hours, jokes, plans, and one that sliced straight through me. "Eric, she'll never know. She trusts me too much." I slammed the laptop shut. My breath came jagged, shallow. Even. She had said even. Now I understood. She wasn't just destroying me for sport. She was balancing scales. But for what? What debt did she believe I owed her that justified detonating her own marriage less than a week in? I pressed my palms into my eyes until stars burst behind them. Every instinct screamed to call Mark, to send everything, to blow the whole facade apart. But then I pictured his face. My little brother, grinning like a boy again in his tuxedo just yesterday. If I told him now, his world would collapse. If I stayed silent, mine would. And somewhere in the middle, Anna was pulling the strings, smiling that too wide smile I'd seen 100 times before. I whispered into the empty kitchen. "What do you want from me?" The phone buzzed again. This time just one line. "Meet me. Tonight. Alone." We agreed on a cafe downtown. Neutral ground. Public enough to keep it civil, private enough for knives hidden behind smiles. I got there early, my hands wrapped around a mug of coffee I didn't drink, the steam blurring my reflection in the window. My pulse ticked louder than the clock on the wall. At 7:18 p.m. Anna walked in. No wedding ring. No trace of the demure bride from yesterday. She wore black jeans, a leather jacket, hair slicked back like she was arriving for a business deal, not a confession. She spotted me instantly, smirked, and slid into the booth across from me. "Glad you came," she said. Her voice was too casual, like we were girlfriends meeting after work. I didn't waste time. "Why?" Her smile widened. "Straight to it. I like that." She leaned forward. "Because you owe me." I blinked. "Excuse me. You think I forgot?" Her eyes glinted, sharp as glass. 3 years ago. That gala. Remember? My stomach nodded. I remembered the gala, the night I first met her. "But what about it?" "You told me something that night," she continued. "You were drunk, maybe you forgot." I didn't. "You leaned in and said Eric was the kind of man who could never say no. That if a woman wanted him, she could have him." You laughed. My throat went dry. Did I say that? Maybe. I'd been tipsy, careless, joking. But to Anna, it hadn't been a joke. "That was a challenge," she said softly. "And I don't lose challenges." My pulse hammered. "So you married my brother just to get to my husband?" "Married him." She laughed. A hollow, bitter sound. "Darling, marrying him was the easy part. He wanted me the second I walked into his life. But Eric, he was harder. And now," she tapped her phone against the table, "now I have proof. Proof that the man you built your life on is exactly what you claimed he was." I shook my head. "You destroyed your own wedding. For this? For me?" Her smile vanished. For the first time, I saw something raw in her face. Rage, maybe. Or hurt. "You stole something from me," she hissed. "You don't even know it yet. But you will." She stood, tossed a few bills onto the table for her untouched drink, and walked out. I sat frozen, the weight of her words pressing down like a storm. What had I stolen from her? Her words haunted me the whole night. "You stole something from me." I turned them over in my mind like jagged stones, each angle cutting deeper. What could she mean? What had I ever taken from her? Sleep never came. By morning, my head throbbed and my hands shook as I made coffee I couldn't taste. Eric moved around the kitchen as if nothing had shifted. His tie straight, his smile practiced. I studied him like a stranger. The curve of his jaw, the lines at his eyes, the mouth that had whispered vows to me, then laughter to her. "Big day at work," he said, kissing my forehead. I flinched. He didn't notice. The door clicked shut and I was alone. I opened a box I hadn't touched in years, the one shoved to the back of my closet, filled with memories I pretended didn't matter. Photos, invitations, scraps of old lives. That's where I found it. A photo of me and Anna. Not from the gala. Earlier. College. We weren't friends, not really. But we moved in overlapping circles. Same campus events, same study groups. In the picture, we stood side by side at some charity auction, both smiling, both glowing with the arrogance of 20-year-olds who think the world is waiting for them. And beside us, in the background, Mark. My brother. I stared until the edges blurred. Anna had seen him first. I remembered now. She'd asked about him that night. "Who's the guy in the jacket?" "Your friend? Your boyfriend?" "My brother," I'd said, laughing. "Off limits." Her face had fallen. Just for a second. Then she smiled again. Too wide even then. Off limits. Did she carry that word like a wound all these years? I dug deeper into the box. Notes, flyers, a crumpled program. And then a slip of paper I barely remembered. Anna's handwriting scrawled across the back of a napkin. "Someday, I'll have what you have." My chest tightened. Was that it? Did she believe I had stolen Mark by dismissing her before she had a chance? Did she believe I had stolen Eric by having the life she thought she deserved? I pressed the napkin flat against the table. The ink faded but legible. 3 years of smiling dinners. A wedding staged like a fairy tale. A marriage detonated in less than a week. Not for Mark. Not for Eric. For me. She wasn't trying to win them. She was trying to ruin me. Mark invited us all to dinner a week after the wedding. He wanted it to be casual, a chance for everyone to settle into the new family dynamic. The irony nearly choked me. I almost didn't go. I almost called with an excuse, feigned illness, stayed hidden in the safety of my crumbling house. But something inside me had shifted. Anna wanted me cornered, silent, dismantled in the shadows. So I dressed, painted on a smile, and walked into my parents' dining room like I was stepping onto a stage. The table was long, polished, and gleaming with candlelight. Mark sat at the head, glowing, still drunk on his own fairy tale. Anna sat beside him, radiant in silk, her eyes locking on mine the moment I entered. That smile again. Too wide, too knowing. Eric followed behind me, hand brushing the small of my back as if nothing had cracked. I resisted the urge to flinch. Dinner was a blur of small talk. Wine glasses clinked. My mother gushed about Anna's dress. My father boomed about Mark's new promotion. I tasted nothing. Finally, Anna lifted her glass. To family, she said sweetly. I snapped. To betrayal, I said before I could stop myself. The room froze. Forks midair. Eyes on me. Mark frowned. What's that supposed to mean? I turned to him, my throat tight but steady. Ask your wife. Anna tilted her head, feigning innocence. Oh, don't be cruel. She's been emotional lately. My hand shook as I pulled out my phone. With one tap, the screen lit up, the photo, the champagne, the text. I slid it across the table to Mark. He stared, his face drained. Mark, Anna said quickly, her voice sharp with rehearsed panic. It's not what it looks like. It's exactly what it looks like, I said coldly. And it's only part of it. Mark's jaw clenched. Anna, tell me this is fake. She laughed. Actually laughed, sharp and brittle. Fake? You think she doesn't have reasons to ruin me? She's been jealous since the day we met. She told me Eric would be easy. And he was. The table erupted. My mother gasped. My father demanded silence. Eric's hand clamped down on my wrist under the table, too hard, a warning. But I didn't stop. This isn't about Eric. This isn't even about you, Mark. It's about me. It's always been about me. And for the first time, Anna's smile slipped. The silence after my words was jagged, heavy, like glass waiting to shatter. Mark pushed back his chair. The legs screeched against the hardwood. His face was pale, lips pressed thin, eyes darting between me, Anna, and the glowing screen of my phone. Tell me it's a lie, he said again, his voice breaking. Anna's mask cracked. Just a flicker, a twitch in her jaw, a flare in her eyes. Then she straightened, voice sharp. She twisted it. She's obsessed with destroying me. You know how she is. Always the good sister. Always the martyr. I was never good enough for your family, so she made sure to poison it. I leaned forward, my voice low and cutting. I didn't poison anything, Anna. You did that yourself. Starting with your marriage. And mine. Eric shifted beside me, his hand gripping my arm. Too tight. Too desperate. Enough, he hissed. Don't do this here. I turned on him. Here? Where else, Eric? You think you can gaslight me in private forever? Tell me it's in my head? Everyone can see it now. Mark's eyes snapped to him. Is it true? Eric's mouth opened, closed. His silence screamed louder than words ever could. My mother spoke then, voice trembling. Eric, tell us this isn't real. He dropped his gaze. I made a mistake. The room erupted. My father cursed under his breath. Mark slammed his fist on the table. My mother covered her mouth with both hands. Anna smiled again, but this time it was feral, victorious. There, she said softly. You wanted the truth? There it is. Mark spun on her. And you? You slept with my sister's husband on our wedding night? Her smile faltered. It wasn't about you, she spat. It was never about you. The words landed like a blade. His shoulders sagged as though something inside him snapped. I looked at him then, my baby brother, the boy I used to defend on playgrounds, now gutted by the woman he thought was his salvation. I tried to warn you, I whispered. Tears welled in his eyes, but he didn't look at me. He looked at Anna, his voice hoarse. Get out. She froze. Mark, get out. Her chair scraped back. For once, her wide smile was gone. She grabbed her purse, lifted her chin, and walked out, slamming the door hard enough to rattle the silverware. The table sat in ruins, food untouched, wine glasses trembling. And in that wreckage, I knew nothing would ever be the same. The house was silent after Anna's footsteps faded. Mark sat back down slowly like gravity had doubled. He stared at his plate but didn't see it. His hand shook once, then stilled. Eric tried to speak. "Mark, don't," Mark snapped. His voice was raw, sharp. "Don't you dare." Eric swallowed hard, his eyes flicking to me for rescue. There was none. I pushed my chair back. My legs felt steady, but inside I was shaking. "We're leaving." Eric's hand darted toward mine, desperate. "Wait, we can fix this. Please." I looked at him, really looked at him, the man who had been my anchor, my partner, my illusion of safety. And all I saw was a stranger. A weak, selfish stranger who had chosen the easiest temptation over the hardest truth. "There's nothing left to fix," I said. My voice didn't rise. Didn't need to. Silence carried it like steel. Mark lifted his head then, eyes glassy but fierce. "She was right," he whispered. "It was never about me." My chest cracked at the sound of him breaking. I reached across the table, touched his hand. "I'm sorry." He didn't answer, but he didn't pull away either. Eric stood, his voice frantic. "You're really doing this? Throwing everything away because of one mistake?" I turned to him. "No, Eric. You threw it away. The second you touched her, it was gone." He opened his mouth, but Mark cut in. "Get out." Eric blinked. "What?" "Get out of my parents' house," Mark said louder this time. "You betrayed my sister. You betrayed me. You don't belong here." And for once, I saw the boy I grew up protecting stand on his own. Eric's face hardened, then crumbled. He grabbed his jacket, muttered something I didn't care to hear, and stormed out into the night. The door slammed. The silence that followed wasn't heavy anymore. It was clean, sharp, like air after a storm. I sat with my brother, 2 glasses of untouched wine between us. He finally looked at me. "What now?" I exhaled. "Now? We rebuild. Separately. But stronger." For the first time in years, I meant it. Later, when I crawled into bed alone, the sheets were cold but honest. No lies, no weight, no poison comfort. Just me. And though grief gnawed at me, grief for the marriage I'd lost, for the brother I couldn't protect, for the family splintered, I felt something else beneath it. Relief. Because Anna had tried to ruin me. But in the wreckage, I had found the one thing she could never steal. My freedom.